Hi everyone, today I'm here with a book haul. I would think it's more of a mini book haul because I've only got 12 books to talk about and only 4 of them are physical. So I think it's really unlike me to mostly have ebooks, and normally I would make a bigger video with, I don't know, 20 odd books or 30 books, but this time I thought I'd sort of split it through, and for the past couple of months I've only acquired 12 books, and like I said, most of them are ebooks and there will be 2 audiobooks as well. So like I said, really unlike me, but I'm just trying not to buy too many books this year, but I still want to make a book haul so that instead of me trying to explain as quickly as possible through all the books that I've acquired, I think I'll try it this time with just 12 and see how we get on. I will be going in the order how I got them, so let's get started. The first book I already mentioned in one of my videos, but that is The Complete History of Jack the Ripper, new edition apparently, by Philip Sugden, I think. So this is a non-fiction book, it's a true crime, I think you would say, and it's quite a massive book. It's 500 pages. I am making very slow progress as it started. I think I started in June, and I'm only on page 165, so not really that far in, but at the same time with non-fiction I always feel like I need a little bit more time to process, and the font is not exactly big, and obviously because it's the complete history of Jack the Ripper, they talk about all the victims, they talk about all of the circumstances, they talk about the witnesses, they talk about all of the potential clues, all of the different theories, different suspects, where those suspects come from, what their like story, background story, not a lot into that, but still enough to understand why this specific person would have been considered to be Jack the Ripper, police thought process at the time, how they were getting on with the clues of each murder and all of that. It's really interesting, it's fascinating, but yeah, like I said, because it's so full on detail about all of that, it's a little bit more difficult to read, especially in the evenings when my brain is already tired and I want to read something easy. But yes, I'm definitely enjoying it. It's, for some reason, it's a really fascinating topic to me. Jack the Ripper, of what happened in the past, why he was never discovered and all of that. It's just really, I find it really interesting. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna read it. The inspiration for this book for me was actually The Yard, which I read in June, and because this book was set in 1889, 1 year from Jack the Ripper, and there's so much talk about Jack the Ripper, so I thought, right, I need to actually know the actual story of what happened, because there are so many references to it and stuff like that. Not that it takes you out of the story at all, because it's about a completely different case and stuff like that. But I was just too curious and I thought, okay, I need to know, I need to learn more about it so that in the future if there are any more references regarding Jack the Ripper, I would know more about it. So it's a really interesting read so far. My next book is probably rather unexpectedly, because it's out of my recently read genre, and that is The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. I've heard about the series for ages. And I know it's a long series. I think there are 7 books because there are 7 sisters and each book follows a different sister. But for some reason, sometimes I just like the idea of a thick, hopefully coming of age story that is full of details and quite atmospheric, and you're just slowly chipping away at somebody's life story. I do sometimes enjoy that. And I know it's, I think, loosely based on like a Greek myth, I believe, if I'm not wrong. The basic premise of these books, we follow, like I said, a sister in each book, and this is the first one. And so it starts with all of the sisters. For some reason it says 5 sisters though. 5 sisters, the main character and the 5 sisters, I don't know. But anyway, so they gather together in a house of their childhood because their adoptive father is dying. But he's left a single clue to each and every one of them for their true heritage for them to discover. And so I think the first book will potentially be sort of following Paris, because it talks about this girl who was supposed to marry into aristocracy. I don't know how to pronounce the word. But she convinces her father to accompany some architect on a trip to Paris, and then her life will never be the same again. So I'm guessing that will be her mum, potentially. I don't really know. But yes, like I said, it sounds really, really intriguing. I do like sometimes detailed stories like that, like hopefully coming of age stories where you get to know the character really well, when you get to know their life really well, their choices and stuff like that. And something intriguing about these books that I just want to read them. So I don't know when I'll read it because it's quite a massive book. It's like 600 pages, but I will get to it one day. So the next book I purchased is on my Kindle, and that is Doomsday Match by Jeff Wheeler. So I did mention before how, because I've got Amazon Prime, I get a free choice of ebook every month. There's like a selection of 10, and I think there are different genres every time, so you can pick up any book and read it for free, which I have taken the opportunity of doing, I think, once or twice. But this is the one I chose for June, but didn't actually get to it, and I'm filming it in the middle of July. But I will get to it because it does sound really interesting. So this one I think is probably like a mixture of genres. I can't remember what it was described as, but it's, I think, a bit of a sci-fi thriller maybe? Let me just read the blurb. So the premise of this book is we follow the main character Jonathan, and he and his family got an invitation to get to this perfect resort where you basically just rest and you've got all the luxury stuff. It's a luxury retreat, so they're going there. But instead of it looking like a private resort, when they get there it actually looks like an isolated place. There are guards all over the place, and there are pictures of people on the wall who were the previous guests who disappeared. And there are rumours of something coming called The Game. And now they're starting to think that they weren't invited to this resort, they've been lured to it. But what for? From the ruins, a death cult is reborn. A prophecy to bring down Western civilization is being realised. As a legendary blood sport is engaged, the Roths themselves may need to call upon ancient powers if they're to survive, escape and save the world from annihilation. It just sounds not like something I've ever really read before, but it sounds really interesting. So like I said, it's a mixture of sort of genres. I think there's a bit of vivid fantasy in there, but it does sound really intriguing, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading that one. Hopefully I'll read it soon, sooner rather than later. The next 5 books I got recommended by my colleague from work. I was telling her at the time that I was sort of in a reading slump, and she sent me a list of books that she read in one sitting. And I've picked up 5 of those because they do sound rather intriguing. I bought them on my Kindle, so again they're going to be ebooks. But the first one is Blood Sugar by Sasha Rothschild, which I have already read, and I mentioned it in my June wrap-up if you want to have a look at it. The link will be down below for you to check out. In this book we follow our main character, who is, at the beginning of the book, is sat with the detective who is showing her 4 pictures of 4 different people that she supposedly killed. One of them is the one she didn't kill, her husband. So she's basically trying to prove that she didn't kill the husband, although she did kill 3 other people, but she also doesn't want the detective to know that. It was a really interesting book from a really different perspective, which I did really enjoy, but it's not a wrap-up, so let's move on to a different book. The next book is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This one does sound intriguing, and if I remember correctly, it's also a bit of a mixture of genres. In this book we follow our main character, who is a mum of a teenager, and so she's waiting for him in the evening, his curfew's long gone, and suddenly she sees him coming home, but I think somewhere on the way she witnesses him stab a stranger. Her son is then taken to custody, and then she wakes up next morning and it's yesterday. So now she has a chance to figure out who the victim is and why her son was stabbing him or her. So it sounds like one of those time twisting, like, you know what I'm trying to say, like time travel thriller is what I'm trying to say. So a little bit of a sci-fi element in there, and I've heard good things about it, so I have high hopes that I'm going to enjoy it. Next one is The Roommate by Carolyn Macon Flaker. I'm so sorry about pronunciation. But apparently that's also an absolutely gripping psychological thriller with a huge twist, which I'm definitely looking forward to. So we follow the main character, who is now moving into this new bungalow that her grandmother left her, and she's basically starting her life over again. And she gets this perfect roommate as well, who like helps to pay the bills. They're really getting on together, and he always like helps her. They always spend a lot of time together. They're really friendly. But then her doubts start to creep in. She's starting to think, where did he get that key for the side door, and what are those strange noises that are coming from his room? And then Donna, our main character, brings home a new boyfriend, and that's when things start to get out of control. It sounds really intriguing, and I do see how that type of book could be read in one sitting, and I'm hoping that it's going to grip me, because I feel like I haven't had a 5-star book for ages. I feel like I haven't had a book that gripped me completely, the one that I just don't want to put down. I want that feeling, so I think if any book is going to do it, hopefully it's one of these 5. That's the idea of them, so I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully I'll get to it sooner rather than later again. The next one is in the same vibe again. It's Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. Sorry, I'm just looking at my phone, but the covers will be there. And it's another one of those thrillers. I'll read you the blurb because it's quite a short one. So, 5 years ago, Gio's first love was revealed as a terrifying serial killer, but he escaped custody and went on the run. Now, bodies have started turning up, killed in exactly the same way as before. The message is clear. He's making his way to her, one murder at a time. It sounds terrifying, but I think for a fiction book that just sounds really gripping, and I think actually reading that now, I really want to read the book, so hopefully I'll get to it sooner again rather than later. But these 5 are genuinely 4, sorry, because I've read one of them, sound really interesting, and I do really want to read them, because I feel like I'm definitely in the mood for those kinds of books right now, and it just excites me. The last one that she recommended to me is The Cottage by Lisa Stone, and again that sounds like a gripping thriller, and I kind of like the cover, at least the one I'm looking at on my phone. This book actually sounds quite scary. I don't know if it's going to be a thriller or like a horror book, but in this one we follow our main character, who again wants to start her life over again, and she jumps on the chance to rent a cottage somewhere in the woods. So one night she hears this knocking on her window, and the person, or whoever it is, whatever it is not going away. So she doesn't want to be scared off, but this thing or person is just not going away, and it seems that the nightmares are just starting. Again, sounds absolutely incredible, and I think I will enjoy it. From how it sounds, I think it does sound like something I would really enjoy, so I can't wait to read those 4 books. Honestly, after reading the blurbs again, they sound so intriguing, and I really want to read them. And as you've noticed, I have gone more into buying ebooks recently, because I'm running out of space on my physical shelves, and sometimes it's just so good and so easy to buy an ebook and immediately have it. I've only got 4 books left, and my camera already reheated, so interesting. Anyway, the next book I want to talk about is actually a physical book, wow, and that is Cat Lady by Dawn O. Porter. To be completely honest with you, the cover is the thing that basically intrigued me, because, well, the title rather, because I'm a cat lady, I love my cats. I immediately thought that it sounds really interesting when I read the blurb. What if the life you're living isn't the one you want? Mia has made all the right choices. She's married, she has the nice house, the good career, but life isn't about fitting into a box. And there's another woman inside her who's just clawing to get out. I don't know what to expect of this book, because I've never heard about it before, but like I said, it sounds intriguing and it sounds like a hopefully cute little story. I don't expect I will love it, absolutely love it, but I hope it's going to be at least a nice, cute read. There is somebody shouting outside for no reason, so if you can hear that, I apologise, but I can't do anything about it, because that person just will not shut up. Anyway, the next 2 books I want to talk about are the audiobooks. One of them I've already listened to, and that is On What Grounds, which is the first book in the series, and second one is called Through the Grinder. Yeah, so like I said, they're audiobooks. I'm listening to them on Audible, and yeah, so they're basically like a cozy mystery thing, cozy mystery series. So the first book we follow our main character who now basically not inherited because the person is still alive, but she basically manages the coffee house, and there's a lot of talk about coffee. Oh my god, every time I listen to those books it makes me want to have a good cup of coffee so much. There's like recipes with it as well, which is really actually quite appetizing. She manages this place called The Blend, and one of her assistants is found, seemingly she had an accident, so she's fallen down the stairs, but the main character does not think that was an accident, so there's a bit of an investigation going. I won't be telling you the blurb of the second book because it's obviously followed on from it, but yes, so that's basically the gist of it. I did really enjoy the first book in the series, and it's very rare for me to actually continue with a cozy book series because I just normally listen to the first book and give it 3 stars and move on with my life. But this one, there was something about it that I thought I want to carry on with the series, so I, like I said, bought the second book. And yeah, it's like a cozy series. The main character is not actually that annoying. Of course there's a bit of romance in there because of course there's going to be, but I don't think this time is putting me off quite so much because it seems like a slow burn finally, and it does seem like they actually have a little bit of chemistry, and there is an ex-husband as well, which also he's involved in the business, so it's all quite rather interesting. And my last book is a physical book, and that is Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. So there's a little story to this book. So if you watched my TBR for June and July, you would probably know that I picked up this book, Moonflower Murders by Anthony Horowitz, to read. And so I picked this book up with one evening with an intention of starting it, and then I realised it's a sequel, which I never knew before. So of course I had to buy the first book because I still want to read that one, and so I bought the first book, which sounds even better. Sorry, just got distracted by a helicopter. Anyway, I'm going to read you the blurb because it sounds really good, and I think I'm going to really enjoy this book. 7 for a mystery that needs to be solved. Crime writer Alan Conway has been a best-selling author for years. Readers love his detective Atticus Pond, a celebrated solver of crimes in the sleepy English villages of the 1950s. But Conway's latest tale of murder at Pye Hall is not quite what it seems. Yes, there are dead bodies and a host of intriguing suspects, but hidden in the pages of the manuscript lies another story. A tale written between the very words on the page, telling of real-life jealousy, greed, ruthless ambition, and murder. Sounds intriguing. I am really hoping that I did not spoil myself when I was reading the blurb of this book. Hopefully, I don't know. But anyway, I'm very intrigued by this one. It sounds really good, and I just can't wait for this one. But I can't read it for this month because obviously the prompt was to read the book on my bottom shelf and blue on the cover. This is on my bottom shelf now because it's a mystery book, but it's clearly not blue, so I can't read it, but hopefully at some point soon I will. Anyway, so these are all of the books that I wanted to talk to you about today. Please let me know in the comments if you've read any of those and what you've thought of them, or if you're interested in picking up anything after hearing me talk about them. Please let me know in the comments. I always love chatting to you. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!